cannot go around the world and tell people that we need to, if you don't have an investment story of yours. Because they will tell you, now the biggest problem which we have in Zimbabwe is where we can talk from. And then the Chinese say, okay, if you can't talk under a tree, we make a thing, what call it? Make a loan for you so that you can produce it, we can make a what call it? A parliament for you. And then you have got the parliament, they take the money. That cannot improve the quality of the debate. That cannot improve anything. But get into the economy and take away.
So there's something that I want to ask you. I mean, you as the commissar, there were veterans in Zimbabwe. You've moved from, initially you were freedom fighters.
Yes.
Then you become combatants. Now you are war veterans. Why this transition and change of terms?
Because of the politics of pushing the agenda of neoliberalism, but which is also confused. The politics of neoliberalism, let's say, for example, when they said, no, we can't put the words freedom fighters somewhere we were told no longer freedom fighters. You are now combatants. And we became ex-combatants. Some of us argued against that. We said no. Why? If you are Elliot, you even if you have died or you are old, you remain the same. So the idea of neoliberalism was to remove the idea of fighting for freedom. Independence is fine, but remove the idea of, that was the intention. And some of us saw it right then, that the intention here is to make sure that the ideas which we were fighting for are pushed aside, so that they are hidden away from the society now, so that those who are born now cannot know what we were fighting for. That is why people now have got the ability and the audacity to insult freedom fighters, because now even called war veterans. It's like these people were just for war. Why? We're not for war. The war had a purpose, and the purpose was to make sure that we restore, not the history, restore the political power to its rightful owners, restore the economic power to its rightful owners. And the rightful owners are the people who are born here in Zimbabwe. People who are born here are the rightful owners. I don't care which corner you were born from. But, and that is very important. That is why now people think that if you are somewhere in Chitachawa, you do something there, it's not national. It can only be national when maybe it's done somewhere in Harare or something like this. Every corner of Zimbabwe is national. That's what we're fighting for. We're fighting for freedom. People should be free, but people should be equal. They should receive equal treatment, including the spaces and the donkeys and everybody should be equal. We now, in order to perpetuate inequality, people now begin to take away the freedom and let's just celebrate independence. So what is inside that independence, nobody knows. The independence has nothing inside except Kongonya, the flag, and a few songs which are very insultative, and nothing building the nation. So the nation is not going to automatically be built because someone wishes it. You have to purposely do it. the Chinese introduced what they called cultural revolution. In other words, everybody must understand he is a Zimbabwean, which takes me to the idea that why is it that some Zimbabweans are not comfortable in some other places? A child born in Plumtree should be comfortable in Penalonga. So the government has got a responsibility to make sure that citizens are able to talk to each other. If I take one child today and one child from Plumtree and another one from Penalonga, take them to any nation in the world, they will be able to talk to those people if they are studying whatever they are studying or doctorate somewhere in Germany. They will be able to speak English with those people and they will speak English to themselves. But they can't be friendly, they can't bond because they cannot speak to each other. And this is not a law brought by me. Even God knows that when you want to make sure that people don't do things properly, because they wanted to climb somewhere, and then he said, no man, let me introduce languages so that these people cannot speak together. And how do we explain and justify that after 40 years, people still cannot speak to each other properly? When we're making games, when we're making drums, whatever we're doing, let's be one people. Let's be one people. So, if the government, Simgai School, which we made, we were teaching Ndebele there in Sege outside Harare. We were teaching there. There was no problem. I have got children now who are adults like you, who come and thank me and say, no, I am now in such and such, but because you introduced Ndebele in Harare, we are quite comfortable now speaking to people in other places which need Ndebele. So I don't understand why the government cannot understand that, because to me, the government has got only two roles: protection and communication. That's what they must fix. Why are they not fixing it? Because they don't want people to speak to each other. Maybe. I understand these days they are trying to make leaves correct. No. You must start at the root of the problems, not solve the leaves. These days I understand if you apply for some post somewhere, they say go back to your place. That's not the answer. That's the leaves. The answer is to solve the curriculum. The curriculum must understand what is here. What is here is Ndau, Karanga, Tonga, that is what is here. We like it, we don't like it, but that's the truth of the matter is that. So, no, the Zulu can suddenly disappear or Karanga suddenly disappear because the government is not able to recognize and act on its responsibility.
So we are at the situation that we are now. And as someone who has the experience of fighting for the liberation, of fighting for freedom, of being a war veteran, if I were to say to you as we end this program, what do you think are the basic steps that Zimbabweans need to gain their dignity and fix their economy? What would you advise?
The first thing is to fix education. That's the first thing. Fix education. When I'm saying fix education, begin to teach people the right things, the things which arm them, to make them begin to do those things which I said must be done, to learn how to own the economy. In other words, there must be literacy in the financial field. There must be literacy in understanding the economic situation, because that is the foundation of the society, not the superstructure. The politics, the religion, the whatever, you can all pray together. But when you are hungry together, you're going to eat each other. despite the fact that Pamperi together. When you finish Pamperi together, I'm telling you, you're going to eat each other. So until we fix this, the foundation, where I want to go and buy a Mnangatire watch, I want to go and buy napkins for my granddaughter, which are made by, call them chamisa napkins. This is what I want. So once I see that, and other nations come to buy from us, we export. That is going. So we start with education. The second thing, which we need to do, we all need energy. Fix the energy. And fixing the energy, you have given the basis of that on education. If I ask you now, or anybody, even those ones who say that the minister or the who are in tourism, how deep is Kariba Dam? They don't know. But if you ask them about the prairies of Canada, they will answer you. And Christopher Columbus, that he was great. And your children cannot know. But once they learn about the Kariba, how the generation makes, then they will add their own creativity and they will generate electricity. And they will get all these things will be fixed because of the people who have the right education, and now they know that this is this. And then when you have got the energy there, then you start the business of manufacturing things. You start the business of production. Everything must be production. What I'm saying, it must be commodity turned into money. Money turns into commodity. Not money is nice. No. People must understand the value there. We have to make sure that our people understand that the value is in the product. The value is not in the piece of paper. You see this thing? It says 50. But if I want to go and buy a box of matches with this, I want to afford a box of matches. I want to afford it. But this thing is hundreds and fifties and so on. It won't afford a box of matches. So the value is in the product. And then that product should then mean put everything, put the social labor of the country, into the products. Then we'll get the value. And when we have made that, when we have got the production going, manufacturing going, manufacturing things which are needed in the country, which are needed outside the country, then we are getting there. And then ensure that the distribution of all the products and the services which you have produced are controlled by you. Don't allow people to come and say, I know this and so on, I'm an investor and so on, and then they control you. No, you control them. So if they say, no, there's a market, you say, it's better, you mind the thing, you leave it here, you go. If you think our control is wrong, you go, we remain with our thing, we market it somewhere, so that you control. Once you have done the control of the distribution, then you come to the stage where you share the value which has come back as a social necessary labor time. So therefore, everybody has got a share. And this business of people wanting to be employed and employed and employed, no. People should produce their own products so that those products, we see they are needed by the world, we export them, and our country can begin to stabilize. Not this idea of running around looking for people as if there is a species of people who are able to give birth to, they call them investors. No, man, we must all arrest all men so that we can be able to produce investors of our own. Then things will go right. Because now this which we are distributing it in the form of pills, what call it? Pills, in the hospitals, school books in the what call them, in the schools, all these things. Then we begin to enjoy that together. The care, we look after our nurses, we look after our teachers, we look after everybody else, because everybody else will be understanding that they are part of this thing.
So my last question to you is, having traveled this journey up to now, looking back, do you have any regrets?
Not one. Not one. I don't have any regrets. I know that there has been setbacks. Setbacks in the sense that, for a start, the party which I believe had understood what we were fighting for was ZAP. But ZAP was dominated by the idea of nationalism, and it didn't win the elections. However, by the same token, ZAN was there. That became a setback, because then it meant that we had to adjust to our ideas being defeated or being set back. So that is very important for us. So we have suffered a lot of setbacks, but then it became setback, one setback after another and another and another. But I don't regret anything. But what I want to say is that the struggle is a relay. However, this relay is not run on a straight line. It goes this way, up, down, this relay. So we pass this. The people who are going to achieve what I was able to talk about may not necessarily be your own children, even your own children. It might be another fourth or fifth generation. So we must understand that the fight was about our own generation making a contribution. Other generations must come and continue. There's no revolution which gets defeated forever. It doesn't happen. So this thing must be carried on. We must fight on. Even if it means we have to change our colors. We change our colors to deceive the enemy. We used to put on uniforms of the regime in order to make sure that we succeed. So that's what we must do.
Thank you very much, Babu Nyathi, for your time. This was a very interesting discussion, Babu Nyathi, where we're looking at not only the history of the liberation struggle, but probably looking at some of the things that went wrong, what could be done better. Like I said from the onset, Babu Nyathi was a commissar, so he still has the ideas and the energy. Mhlawumbe kumele sike simbize engane ya Chaiphungwe lapha amabili amathathu ukufundisa abantu igwara romsangano, because he still has the energy, and I hope we learned a lot, and I hope the debate will not end here. We'll continue to talk about these issues, because the issues of governance, the issues of politics are something that we keep discussing every day. It's ongoing, and like I said, Babu Nyathi is also a writer, so he has written 1 or 2 or 3 books, and I would encourage people to look at some of these books so that we understand more what he's talking about. My name is Zenzele Ndebele. Till we meet again in other programs, have a good day.